Reesie and Dylan are not experts, and none of their claims can technically be proven. Also, would the NSA please not tap our phones? We talk about some pretty weird shit. This is the Foil Hat Broadcast. Hey, we didn't see you there.
Come on in.
We don't see you at all. This is a microphone.
We have a few extra seats. You can sit down, spread out.
Hello and welcome to the Foil Hat Jazz Club.
Shoo-be-doo-wop-bop-ba-doo.
And it just descends into fucking chaos.
Oh my god.
Just uncomfortable, like no beat snapping. Just
like someone heavy breathing in the background.
Hello and welcome to the Foil Hat Jazz Bar.
The shittiest jazz bar. Shittiest jazz bar on the internet.
Hello and welcome to Two-Person Slam Poetry Night. So it's just one person in the background like...
Bongos. And Trump said... Kofifi.
Kofefe.
Kofefe.
Kofefe? Kofefe. Kofefe.
Do you say Kofifi
I say Kofefe.
I say Kofifi. Kofifi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My hands are sweaty. I'm not going to shake it.
All right.
I respect you too much.
I respect you too much to touch you. To make personal contact. You are above the strain of mortal man. I would sully your majesty with my sweaty palms. Hello. And you're listening to the Foil Hat Broadcast with me, Dylan.
And me, Reesie.
How's that for an opener?
That was a slam.
I might just fade into that. The first time viewers who hear that will be like, what the hell is the show about? Sorry, we needed a bit of levity.
Yeah.
I think. Considering last week's show.
Oh, yes.
Which
this
was depressing
so
in multiple ways. Do you want to get a different chair? Are there other chairs? There's a chair buried.
No, okay. I just got to lean forward a little bit so it's less like... Okay, so I'm less on the hinges. All right. I look at the microphone when I talk.
I look at the microphone when I talk, too. Or you. But mostly the microphone.
Mostly the microphone, which is weird because we're talking to each other.
Yeah, but we address each other, but we stare into the red glowing eye of the microphone.
I'm uncomfortable with eye contact.
Yeah, I can't make eye contact either. So, how are you?
I'm alive.
It's been a week. It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, since the last one. And we decided that this show needed to be a bit more, get the jokes out, get the happiness going, get the kill the horribly depressing realization that the government was trying to kill us all along.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. So this time we're talking about the very silly idea. I think it's silly. I think
it's silly, but also...
very interesting.
Interesting.
It's called the Phantom Time Hypothesis.
We live in the 18th century.
That's the thought, anyway. So this one's pretty simple. Here's the lowdown. In, 1991, I want to say Hebert, but it's like Heribert. Heribert Illig, who is a German historian, decided that thanks to three powerful men in the 15th and 16th century, 300 years didn't happen.
All right.
Yeah, so 297 years between 614 and 911, the year 911 CE, just didn't exist, which is, for non-history buffs, or just people who don't know history very well, was the early Middle Ages, So right after the fall of Rome, well, not really right after yes.
It's about the time of the fall of Rome.
Yeah. And so the bit between Rome and what everyone assumes is the medieval period just doesn't happen, which includes Charlemagne. So sucks to be him.
Charlemagne's not real anymore.
Yeah. No, he doesn't exist. I mean, there's not a lot of... What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Like specific thoughts?
Just any thought that you're having right now on the top of your head. What is it?
Well, I'm thinking about it was the transfer from the something calendar,
the Julian
calendar to the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah, which is the Gregorian calendar is the calendar we use now.
Is it the Gregorian calendar or is it it starts with a C? What calendar do we use?
I think it's the Gregorian calendar.
I think you're probably right.
I'm gonna Google it. It is the most widely used civil calendar, so that's the one we have now. Which is, and then Wikipedia has given me a bunch of other calendars that means what year we're in. Yeah, that's great. According to the Byzantine calendar, it is the year 7,525.
I feel like they're probably right.
I mean, the Byzantines knew what they were doing. Julian calendar is literally just the Gregorian calendar minus the 13 days.
Yeah.
So, which doesn't account for 300 years.
Right?
No. So where did the Gregorian calendar come in to this thought?
Okay, so what I'm thinking is that, so there was a whole thing with the 13 days, and then I remember talking about something about 10 days. It was 10 days, and the reason they did these 10 days like this was because they wanted to have Easter on a specific day. They wanted
Easter on a specific day that would coincide with how everyone else agreed Easter was on.
Right.
Also, the new Gregorian calendar would account for the fact that a year is not exactly 365 days, but 364 point something days.
Right.
Which is also where the leap year comes in, but that's not really has anything to do with this current
Which,
discussion.
By the way, I just want to point out, Easter was a holiday before Christians.
Well, everything was a holiday before Christians.
Just saying.
Don't call them out. They didn't make the calendar.
It was like the spring solstice or some shit.
The vernal equinox, I think.
Yeah, there you go. That's a word that I didn't know.
I took an astronomy course in community college.
I believe it was the vernal equinox.
Are you getting on my case because I know fucking astronomical terms?
Whatever, smarty pants.
Yeah. So Illig, the German historian, basically said that Otto III, who was the Holy Roman Emperor, which was an empire that wasn't an empire, wasn't holy, and wasn't Roman, which I love saying, Pope Sylvester II and the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII worked together to fabricate 297 years of history using false and altered accounts.
That's an insane...
It's an insane effort. And apparently what they did this because they wanted... Otto III wanted himself to be crowned the Holy Roman Emperor in the lovely sound... And I see where he gets this from. The lovely year of 1000 AD.
Because that would make you so cool.
You're the Millennium King now. That's a cool thing.
Millennial King?
A Millennial King. Yeah. It was millennials before the millennials.
No one likes to do that anymore, but whatever.
That's a bad thing.
But the thing about all of that, the phantom time, is that, there are people who are, medievalists. Mm-hmm. There are people who study... historians with a specialization in the medieval era.
A lot of historians will have specializations, and
they're just no.
That's not how any of this works.
Nope.
You can't just say 300 years of history didn't happen.
Because it's a mathematical thing with the moon and Halley's Comet and
eclipses
everywhere else in the world that wasn't Europe.
Well, it's because it doesn't account for the fact that other parts that weren't Europe on the planet Earth were also having history at that time.
Right.
Most notable, I think it was the Tang Dynasty is completely overlooked if these 300 years didn't exist.
China was we've been here the whole time.
Hi,
and that did
China.
Happen.
Hi, China here. We have records that say we did exist. Because they have records. I think a lot of they cross-reference these things. What if the 300 years don't exist? Well, because we can measure eclipses. We know when they happen because it's all physics. It's all mathematically based. So you can look back and go like, okay, the eclipses happened here, 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 and here, even without records, and then go back and cross-check them with ancient records and say like, oh, here, an astronomer in China said that an eclipse happened, and it did during those periods that apparently don't exist. So it just doesn't work that way. You look up dendritrology.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait, what is that?
It's the tree ring.
Yeah. You grind out, like, you dig a hole in a tree, take out the rings, count the rings. That's how old a tree is.
Do you know why that is?
I don't.
Well, because I want to. But when a tree grows, it depending on what time of the year it is, which is why every year is a ring, because the harder outer ones will grow in the colder winter, and then a lighter bark will grow in the spring and summer.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It'll that's what creates rings in trees. I think that's right.
Trees
I could be
are
wrong.
cool.
Also, something for some reason I learned in an astronomy class.
Trees are dope. Let's do some botany.
Let's do some. Welcome to the Foil Hat Botanical Garden. I had a list of things that basically went like, so here's what's wrong with this.
Yeah.
Here's all the different history things that it misses.
I have it here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Good. Well, you can have that.
Yay. If Charlemagne and the Charlemagne dynasty were fabricated, there would have been...
Is that Carolingian?
Whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm a history nerd.
I know, no. I'm just giving you shit. I'm just kidding.
I realized when I was doing research for this one, I'm gonna be the only one who knows what I'm talking about. Like, I'm gonna name all these names and go like, yeah, these are names I recognize, and everyone's gonna be like, who the fuck are you talking about?
So how do you pronounce that? Carolingian?
Well, okay, the name is Charlemagne, but that's the Carolingian dynasty.
Okay, so if Charlemagne and the Carolingian dynasty were fabricated, there would have been a corresponding fabrication of the history of the rest of Europe, including Anglo-Saxon England and the papacy, and the Byzantine Empire. Yeah. The Phantom Time period also encompasses the life of Muhammad and the Islamic expansion of the...
You're gonna say it like this?
into the areas of...
You went nuts. You owned that. That was great.
Don't tell me, Phantom Time.
So, Phantom Time hypothesis sort of overlooks a large period of history.
Massive period of history.
Ignores the fact that other people existed that weren't Europeans.
Everyone existed.
Yeah, because it was the Islamic expansion. It was the dawn of Islam.
It really was.
The Prophet Muhammad apparently lived during this time, and the Tang Dynasty existed during this time.
The Battle of Talas.
Which is actually something I don't know.
Ooh.
It must be like an Islamic versus China thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Tibet. Oh, and there's the
Tang Dynasty. Emperor
Xuanzang.
Xuanzang.
You would probably know better than I would in that
Xuanzang.
Yeah, because the X is like it's kind of like a sh.
Well, because Xian is spelled Xian and it's Xin.
It's Xin.
Xin. So,
yeah.
Xianzang.
I should call him by his proper name then.
Xin.
Well,
it's so cute when his family comes over. Oh, hello, Xin. And we're like, Xian?
Excuse me? This is America. We pronounce things the American way, which is incorrectly. Xian. Poor little guy.
W.
Yeah, it's weird because I was playing Civilization 6, the video game. Mm-hmm. And in that game you can play as China. And the capital that they use is Xi'an. Mm-hmm. Apostrophe A-N. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, hey. It's almost Xian.
Xian means peace.
Peace among the worlds.
Peaceful. His name means Western peace, and his middle name means warrior. So he is the peaceful warrior.
Why don't English names have these cool backgrounds?
My name means death.
Oh. My name
is Death Christmas Sword.
Death Christmas Sword.
Yeah.
That's the best, yeah.
Therese Noel Rapier.
I think Jacob is a biblical name.
It is.
Dylan is an Irish name, and it's taken from, if I remember correctly, there was like a mythological figure named Dylan, and he was the son of the god of the sea.
Ooh.
So I'm a sea god.
Percy Jackson.
And Prue just means like wisdom or something. It's French. It's dumb.
My whole name is French.
Your whole name is very French.
I
So I
know
don't
what it
have a
means in
real meaning
French.
unless it's like a Christian god of the sea sun.
Christian god
A
of
wise,
the sea and sun.
I'm a wise god of the sea.
You're the son of a god, but you're also Christian because
not,
you turned your
so-
back on your father.
I turn my back on the Irish pantheon, which they have one. It's just not very well known.
In Greek, Therese means the reaper and the harvester, otherwise known as death.
Yeah.
And then Noel is just
It's
Christmas.
Christmas.
And then rapier is a type of sword.
You're the deadly Christmas sword.
Deadly Christmas sword.
You will reap those who do not have a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your sword of death. You don't need
It's
a
a lot of
scythe.
Jews.
And the Chinese, and actually most Asian cultures.
Buddhists and
Buddhists,
Hindus,
Hindus,
and people who...
Shinto,
Islamic...
Zoroastrians.
Wiccans.
Everyone, really.
Those fake Buddhists who think that Buddha was like an actual prophet of God.
I mean, that's just an interpretation.
But that's not... No. Not really.
All religion is an interpretation.
Yeah, but that's not the correct interpretation.
This is coming from...
No, because it's like Buddha was the dope dude who was like, hey, let's not be assholes. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you take it, okay, and then they took it wherever they took it.
Like Jesus,
and
like
then
Muhammad.
and then the Buddhists took it like, okay, well, we respect our family, we not worship, but we revere our ancestors
and our teachers.
And our elders. And then these people, which is never like Asian people who like grew up in China or Japan where Buddhism was like an actual thing. It's always like white dudes that's like, we believe Buddha lives inside of us. And I'm like, you believe wrong. You don't know what this religion is.
Well, there's the two major interpretations of Buddhism, which is one which is he's not a prophet or a god or whatever. He's just like a sort of he's a teacher. Yeah. He's the Buddha. That's what that means. He's a philosopher teacher. And then there's the other one who interpreted nirvana as an ascension to heaven rather than like a peace of mind, a state of being. Nirvana would become the state of heaven, so Buddha was sort of a god. And so there's two different interpretations of that. God Buddha, and then there's the ones who are like, Buddha's inside me. Mm-hmm. And then there's the ones who are like, Buddha was awesome, we follow his teachings, and that's cool.
I had a white dude in khaki shorts come tell me about Buddhism, and I'm like, bitch, I know I'm white. This is not the point. The point is that I was raised by a Buddhist man.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like, straight out of China. Crazy motherfucker named Ha Chang. We're keeping that in.
I'm just imagining, like, straight out of China. A Chinese rap musical. Straight out of
Shanghai.
Shanghai. I was gonna say like Zhuangzhang or something. I'm trying to think of all my old like China city names that I learned in history class. Driving around in like an SUV and
he's gonna be driving around in like an Echo or like a Toyota, just like a really shitty beat up car.
He's just a nice guy with a family.
He's just a nice guy. I moved out here. I'm in technology now.
He has a perfect American accent. Yeah.
Like I grew up in Santa Monica. Went to SMC, got into Berkeley. So really...
Seems super chill. Where did this conversation go?
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the phantom time hypotheses, and then we talked about names, and then we got to talking about straight out of China.
Straight out of Beijing.
Straight out of Beijing. Where's your... Yeah.
Well, my dad was born in... while they were escaping China to go to America, he was born in Cambodia.
Oh, cool.
But you can't be like, straight out of Cambodia.
Because no one knows where Cambodia is.
No one knows where Cambodia is.
I mean, I would be able to, but no one...
We would have this argument all the time because it was so fucking annoying. Mm-hmm. He would be like, I'm Cambodian. Where? Where in your family are you Cambodian?
You spent 2 minutes in Cambodia.
Right? Like, you spent, like, a few years in Cambodia. Like, I get it. Like, you're from Cambodia. You were born in Cambodia. But...
What's Cambodia even doing right now?
I don't know.
I feel like they weren't that much better at the time.
But it's like every single person in your family forever has been Chinese.
Yeah. Up until right now.
Except for the time when they were like, it's like a type of spot that you get if you were What were the people that raped and pillaged the Chinese Empire?
When?
One of the times. Mongolia.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, you just made a broad sweep of all of history, and I'm like, when?
There's a possibility that his family might have a little bit of Mongolian in it.
Well, I mean, everyone in that area has a little bit of Mongolian in them.
Yeah.
So actually, I think it was like 20% of the people have a little bit of Mongolian in them.
But it was like Chinese, a little bit of Mongolian, Chinese, maybe a splash of Mongol right here, and then mostly Chinese after that. Everyone else has been Chinese. We are the only white people ever.
And now Xian.
And now Xian, who's like, he's gonna speak Chinese, like, he's going to Chinese school and whatever, and his family,
lovely.
And his family, you know, they mostly only speak Chinese, and they live in a predominantly Chinese neighborhood.
So it'll be good for him to be learning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He will be the best of both worlds.
But the language that they speak, Chu Chao, which is not Mandarin or Cantonese.
Yeah, that's
like a dead language.
It's a specific dialect.
That's a very, very specific dialect from the town that my family is from.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So I don't know how that's going to work.
I mean, it's probably close enough that they'll be able to understand each other.
Probably.
But if he wants to speak that, they'll have to teach him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like us speaking
Chinese
like
now.
old. It's like speaking old English to someone's like you kind of know what they're talking about, but really no.
When I was in high school and we were doing Shakespeare,
I'm not talking about like Shakespeare. I'm talking about we just threw a couple Y's in there. And, like, everything sounds like, hey, liddy-lee-doo-lee. Like, it's very, it sounds like it would be Irish, but it isn't. It's like Welsh. Welsh is, like, the closest thing. It's like if someone spoke Welsh.
Okay. I'm talking about Shakespeare. I'm talking about, like, how no
one spoke like that
right?
No.
But, like, no one could figure out what he was talking about. Like, in my class, I was in an honors English class in high school, and they were like, I don't know what he's saying. And I'm like, he's saying that she's like,
Shakespeare's not that hard to interpret.
It's really not.
In fact, I was one of the few kids in those classes, you know, he always sort of dropped jokes.
Yeah, I would get him.
Even the really serious bits, and I'm just like, did you guys get that? And they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, that was hilarious. You guys don't.
You called him a bastard.
Yeah. Do you know? Don't you know?
Don't you get it?
Oh, Shakespeare jokes.
You see, nobody liked me.
No.
But they all wanted me in their group when we did Shakespeare because I'm just like, this is the easiest thing in the world. He's speaking English. You understand that, right?
Yeah. So we spent how long not talking about the phantom time hypothesis? What is there to really talk about the phantom time hypothesis?
Well,
because I mean, it's really easily to be disputed.
It's really easily disputed.
We have the rings measurements, we have astronomy measurements, and we have radiometric dating, carbon dating, which gives us basically an absolute date for almost anything we find.
Yep.
And it will tell you that the years between 614 and 911 exist.
Yeah. Wait, are we going to talk about are we going to keep in the thing where I'm like, and if Charlemagne, we're going to keep that in?
I mean, I was expecting to.
Okay. Well, let me just finish it then.
Oh, okay.
All right. Because this is really important.
Like 15 minutes after the fact.
It's like the phantom time period also encompasses the life of Muhammad and the Islamic expansion into areas of the former Roman Empire, which included the conquest of Visigothic Iberia.
Visigothic Iberia.
Visigothic Iberia.
That's Spain.
I don't speak English.
It's the Spanish peninsula.
I don't speak Spanish?
Okay, it's not Spanish.
Yeah, Visigothic didn't sound Spanish.
That's not at all. The Visigoths were just, they were one of the several, like, Germanic tribes, I think.
Well, essentially what that's saying is that everything would have also had to have been
faked.
Yeah. So, China, fake news.
Tang Dynasty didn't
Visigothic
exist.
Iberia, fake news. Muhammad and the Islamic expansion, fake news.
The funny thing about the whole China, like faking a whole dynasty thing, is that actually happened once.
Oh my god, I'm sure it did.
The first real dynasty, and I'm sorry, I can't remember for the life of me. Basically, they founded going like, this old dynasty, well, it lost the mandate of heaven. They started the whole mandate of heaven idea, you know, where you know, heaven would dictate if the emperor was worthy of ruling over China. They made up an entire former dynasty and claimed they had lost the mandate of heaven to show that them taking over the country was just the mandate of heaven moving to their side. They made up a whole like previous dynasty. It's like the oldest piece of like propaganda.
Oh, China.
It's so good. It's so good.
Y'all are so funny sometimes.
I love that. I love history. It's great.
My fish moved again.
Ah, very good. She has she has a new phone, but not new model phone, I guess.
It's a new phone.
It's a new phone. She has a new phone and has
I got a new
fish.
phone. It has a fish and it moves. The fish moves. It makes me happy.
Okay.
I'm 5.
I told you on the way here that I had something that blew the phantom time hypothesis out of the water.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Okay, so, let me tell you about my man Anatoly Fomenko.
Okay.
Which doesn't sound Russian, but he's a Russian.
Oh.
A Russian mathematician. So Illig, the German historian, says that 300 years didn't exist. Fomenko basically says, hold my beer. Watch this. And says that there is an entire 1,100 years that didn't happen.
Oh.
So Anatoly Fomenko came up with this idea that he refers to as new chronology. Basically, he says that the 1,000 years, basically there's no buffer zone between classical period, Greece, Egypt, Rome, and modern 1800, 1900s history. The 1,000 years doesn't exist. It's gone. It's insane.
So we went from scraping rocks together.
We went from Rome to
the printing
late
press.
Middle Ages. Yeah, like Renaissance period.
No.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So
that's not how.
Here's what this means.
Technological.
Here's what this means.
Work.
Our present historical timeline is a forgery created by the 15th and 16th century clergy. I don't know why, because there's a whole book. He has a whole 7-volume book thing about this whole theory. So the Old Testament is a veiled rendition of events of the Middle Ages written centuries after the New Testament.
Oh my God.
The Crusades were not reclaiming the Holy Land, but a direct, immediate response to the crucifixion of Jesus.
What?
Jesus was born in 1053 and crucified in 1086 AD. Also, Jerusalem might have been Constantinople. Also, it might have been Troy.
But Istanbul is Constantinople.
And now, yes.
I'm so lost.
He believes this, and no one else does. Well, except him and a few not co-conspirators, but people who agree with him. There's few Russians, but pretty much no one else does because it's insane. I have a Wikipedia page.
But what part of the sky did he just pull all this nonsense out of?
I don't know.
Because it's just here's a thought. This is real now. Done.
It is kind of insane. But I kind of adore it. I want to see if I can find anything else. What year would we be in
now if that was the case?
I don't know. I tried figuring that out, and I don't know. I don't know what he thinks. Let's see. Histories of ancient Rome, Greece, and Egypt were crafted during the Renaissance by humanists and clergy, mostly on the basis of documents of their own making. Let's see. The Old Testament represents a rendition of events from 14th to 16th centuries in Europe and Byzantium. Containing prophecies about, quote, prophecies about, quote, future events related to in the New Testament. Because remember, in his world, the New Testament was written before the Old. Mm-hmm. So it's a retroactive prophecy thing. Oh, he has this whole theory. It's great. I think it's fantastic. Let's see. Claudius Ptolemy, traditionally dated around AD 150, and considered the cornerstone of classical astronomy, was actually in the 16th and 17th centuries. So there's that. Basically, the way he looks at things is... but when you look at Renaissance stuff, late medieval stuff, there's the Roman-esque architecture, because it was carried over from Rome, and because Romans were good at building shit.
Right.
So architecture tends to have that there's still callbacks to the Roman Empire. He believes that happens, by the way, 1,000-year gap. No, because it was just Rome. The Roman-esque architecture from the Renaissance of the 16th and 17th century is just the immediate follow-up to what Rome was. The gap doesn't exist. It goes from Rome, and this is just stuff that we built because Rome, and all those statues that we associate with Rome and Greece, the perfect anatomy.
Right.
Or like well, there was like idealized anatomy, but very well done. No. That's just Renaissance stuff that they say is classical stuff. It's all forgeries. It's all fake.
But why?
I don't know. I don't understand his reasoning behind it. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do this?
You know what this reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
JonBenet Ramsey is Katy Perry. Duh.
It's an assumption based purely on something just because he thinks that's how it is.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. So, if I may continue some of the other reasons.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, according to him, official Russian history is just a blatant forgery concocted by a host of German scholars brought to Russia to legitimize the usurping Romanov dynasty. The Romanovs being the last dynasty of Russia. Mm-hmm. The ones who fell during the First World War. So, apparently this exists to make the Russians, the Romanovs, legitimate, I guess. At least the history that we know, not the real history, according to Fomenko.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Flamenco needs to calm the deuce down.
It's kind of amazing. It's kind of fantastic. I love this. I think it's great that people think that history didn't happen.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I am too. Well, evidently we haven't read his 6-volume.
I'm not going to read his 6-volume thing.
It's all a religious thing too, because look at the box; it's got Jesus on it.
I've seen all that stuff,
right?
You know,
yeah.
That's not like they didn't you know what we're going to do? We're going to paint a little bit of dirt on this, make it look older. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. It's that old. I'm not. It looks exactly as old as it should look.
Mm-hmm. And carbon dating.
Here's the thing about science.
It works.
It 90% of the time, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, I don't know. About, pretty
much all the time.
It's just blam.
Science works.
That's a fact.
The scientific method is what we use to understand the world around us.
Especially in regards to dating.
Because we have carbon dating and stuff like that.
And the thing with the trees.
Yeah, and even if you don't believe in that, we still have records from all over the world that take place during these years that don't exist. 1,000 years of history that don't exist.
Every single country and continent got together and was like, you know what?
We're going to make up 1,000 years of history.
Because why not? What else do we have to do today?
Because the Pope is trying to take over the world or something. I don't know.
Why would China care about the Pope? Why would they follow that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know.
Why would Muhammad and the whole Islamic movement care one bit about the Pope? If anything, they would be like, "You guys are forging stuff. You know what? We're not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
No one will believe
we're going to forge it the opposite way. Say that it's been thousands.
We're going to add 2 billion years.
We're going to add 2 billion years.
It is the year 2 billion 100 AD, the year of our Lord. The year of our Lord 1 billion.
My God.
Is the title of my time travel movie.
1 billion, the year of our Lord?
The year of our Lord 1 billion, yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
There's a Louis C.K. stand-up thing about time.
Is there?
It's like the Christians won. That's just how it is. The Christians won. We go by their calendar.
We go by their calendar. What year is it?
I'm like, well, what about the Chinese calendar? What about the Chinese? It's like, okay, next time you get a paycheck, write monkey in the date. See what happens to your funds.
That's not how any of that works.
I know, but still. It's every year, it's
great.
Death to America! Death to all Christians! In 2017.
Yeah, I think the Islamic calendar, according to Wikipedia, places us at about 1439. So...
The Jews are
I personally
5,000 years, but that's okay.
I personally like the Holocene calendar, which is a newer thing, which states that it's the year 12,017.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically what it did was they sort of found an arbitrary point in history, and they added 10,000 years, because instead of having a BC AD switch off, it's just all one timeline.
Which makes more sense.
So it's now 12,017. And in my micronation, which I have made, and it's mine, my little country, it's mine, we would go by the Holocene calendar.
Okay.
Because it is 12,017 human era. HE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because it encompasses all of us, not just one group.
Also, they weren't counting down in those years.
No, they weren't. They had their own calendars then.
I know.
It's the year 400 something of Roman world town.
What year is it?
Rome. 10. It's 10.
What year is it? 9.
Can you imagine?
What's that gonna happen?
I really don't think that any system at all ever said that today is year 1. No, it's always got to be a retroactive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been 100 years since then. That's where the calendar's gonna be. Today is 100 something. You don't start and go, hello, we're going to start a new calendar today. Today is 0, March 3rd of 0. No, it isn't.
No, it's not. Nothing has ever happened.
Nothing has ever happened before this point.
Before this one moment.
Or, well, rather, anything that happened before doesn't matter. Today is 0. Anything that happens from now is history. History was 10 minutes when I made that announcement. It is year 2. Can you imagine living in the year 2? No, you can't. No one's done it.
No one has ever lived in the year 2 or 1 or 5.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years since the last thing I could remember.
There are some megalomaniac people out there who are like, because what does North Korea go by? It's like since the year that the first great leader was born or something.
Oh my god.
That's what they do, right?
But that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's Big Brother. It's 1984 over there, so. Or, no, apparently the Korean calendar is 4,350. Did they just do that to get ahead of us?
Oh, I don't know why they do whatever they do. If you're from North Korea, you're definitely not listening to this.
That might be the old one, not the North Korean. It's my birthday, so I get to decide. Anyway, yeah. So that's the thing. It didn't. It is. I can assure you, it is 2017 or 12,017.
More likely 12,017.
More likely 12,017. I can assure you that the years between 614 and 911 did in fact happen.
Yeah.
And you have no reason to think that it is the 1700s now.
I don't know, I kind of like the idea.
Of living in 1720 something?
Yeah, I'm just going to start dressing like that era.
Why though? Every time someone makes that joke, they're like, oh, it's 17, we have to go back. No, we don't! It's still now. Well, we have computers.
I'm just going to say.
Just because the date changes.
The only reason I say this is because I watch, I don't want to say Game of Thrones because that's not real history. I watch, The White Queen.
Yeah.
The White Queen and the White Princess, where it's about Henry Tudor and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And you just want to dress like that?
I want to dress like that because that's awesome. Have you seen those dresses? They are awesome.
Yeah, if you're a noble.
I want 7 women to dress me. I want to hold my arms out like this and then tighten my dress and they do my sleeves. And I want to walk out, crown and pearls, and bow to me because I'm the queen.
If you're a peasant like we are, then you wear the same thing to bed. You just wear the same thing all the time.
I do that now.
You bathe in the river. Or
I don't bathe in a
tub.
river. But I wear that
Smear some dirt on you in the morning to keep the bugs away.
Yeah, well, I've been
camping.
Way of life.
Yeah, we've all been camping.
I've bathed in a river.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Grand Canyon. I've bathed in the Colorado River. I've felt like Pocahontas.
There was another thing I wanted to share with you.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with what we've talked about today.
Okay.
Well, mostly nothing. This is a news article. This is a news article that I woke up to this morning.
Okay.
Hobby Lobby, which I don't know if you know what a Hobby Lobby is. It is like a Midwestern or Southern craft store, arts and craft store branch.
Oh, like the Hobby Lobby, got it.
Yeah. Hobby Lobby agrees to forfeit 5,500 artifacts smuggled out of Iraq.
What?
The arts and crafts franchise, Hobby Lobby, has been smuggling ancient artifacts out of Iraq. The packages that made their way from Israel and the United Arab Emirates to retail outlets owned by Hobby Lobby, the seller of arts and crafts supplies, were clearly marked as tile samples. But according to a civil complaint filed on Wednesday by federal prosecutors in Brooklyn, they held something far rarer and more valuable, ancient clay cuneiform tablets that had been smuggled into the United States from Iraq.
And in other news, Cracker Barrel has been stealing the tombs from the Great Pyramid of Giza.
The whole tomb.
The whole tomb.
They ripped the tomb itself.
They've been stealing...
The room.
The room. They've been stealing from the room. What?
Cracker Barrel is now owned and headed by Carmen Sandiego, who has stolen the entirety of the Great Pyramids of Giza. This just after her stealing of the Statue of Liberty from New York itself.
But, like, what?
What?
First of all, what is Hobby Lobby doing out there?
First of all, how?
What? It's the most random thing, as if they were, like, you know, I don't know, talking about some, like, really crazy company.
Prosecutors said in the complaint that Hobby Lobby, whose evangelical Christian owners have long maintained an interest in biblical Middle East, so I guess they're taking these as sort of like biblical artifacts or whatever. Let's see. Began in 2009 to assemble a collection of cultural artifacts from the Fertile Crescent, which is the region that they're getting these from, where Iraq is and where Mesopotamia was. The company went so far as to send its president and antiquities consultant to the United Arab Emirates to inspect a large number of rare cuneiform tablets.
Oh my
traditional
God.
clay slabs with wedge-shaped. If you don't know what cuneiform is, it's what Mesopotamians used as a writing system, where they took clay tablets and pressed into them with a stylus made of reed. I'm a history nerd. Don't blink at me. So these are thousands of years old, by the way, because let's see, cuneiform died out in like the year 3000 BC. So that's where it was used. Mesopotamia, Sumeria, Assyria, Acadia, Babylon. That's where it was used.
They got cool names.
I know. I would live in New Sumeria. Or actually, it would just be New Sumer. Sumeria is a mistake. No, it was called Sumer. Sumerian, but Sumer. So blah, 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 blah. That was interesting to me.
That's really interesting. Were they selling them?
Here's some pictures. No, they were just hoarding them. They were just keeping... Here's the thing. As much as I think it's stupid, like, why would you do that? I would rather them being smuggled here for safekeeping than being destroyed by the whole turmoil that's going on in the region right now.
Yeah, totally.
Because fucking ISIL or whatever. We had those videos a while back where they were just destroying Assyrian artifacts. Yeah. I wanted to punch someone in the goddamn nose.
Yeah, it's...
If they're not, they don't follow our beliefs, then we're going to destroy the history that made them. Fuck you.
And I'm proud to be an American.
They're an American. Yeah. I mean, although if anyone who has that ideology, regardless of their belief system, is an asshole.
Agreed.
Let's see. Mr. Green, who is like the CEO, I think, said that Hobby Lobby's collection of historical Bibles, which they aren't. Oh, I guess they have a separate collection. And artifacts like the tablets were consistent with the company's mission and passion for the Bible. So they did this out of like a religious motivation to collect like artifacts that would like give them insight into the Bible, which I think is kind of a cool thing, but also kind of crazy. Like, I think it's a good thing, you know, like, okay, so you have this book that everyone believes in. Let's get some ancient stuff to see if the records match. Okay. I think that's a cool thing.
I mean...
But I also think it's kind of insane to hoard them in a Hobby Lobby.
I'm more like freaked. I'm more like confused about the fact that it's a Hobby Lobby.
It's a Hobby Lobby. It's like if Michaels,
right?
Like went on like we're gonna go to China and steal the Terracotta Army. What the fuck? You did what?
You did what now? That makes no sense to me. It's like anything. Like Joanne's fabrics.
Joanne's fabrics. They steal like a 13th century tapestry from England or something. We've saved it. What the fuck are you doing?
Why are you... What? Get back to Joanne's fabrics.
Get back in the fabric store.
Why are you in...
Stop stealing artifacts.
That's insane to me. I don't get it. Like,
I think it's hilarious. I think that, for what it was, I think that does kind of blend with our current theme of what the fuck is history doing wrong.
It is absolutely hilarious.
It's the best thing I've heard all day. Better than the other, like, twice today I've heard news of murder in the region, so... Jeez. This was a weird one to wake up to. I really dig that, though. That's quite funny to me. You're still playing with your fish.
It's my pet fish now. I think we're done.
Well, hey, if you guys are missing large chunks of history, probably just get a better history book.
Or stop smoking so much marijuana.
Or hard illegal drugs.
No more crank for you.
That'll make you lose some time. And hey, if you have any theories on where history might have gone, or what happened and was forgotten, or what didn't happen at all, you can email at us at TheFoilHatBroadcast@gmail.com or put it in the comments section below. Hey, here's the thing. We don't do ads.
This is a new fun thing we got going on.
This is a new fun thing we've got going. It's not new. It's called Tell Your Friends About Us, because it helps us a lot, and every time we get a new listener, it warms the cockles of our heart. Cockles of our heart. And you can also, if you're feeling super generous, contribute to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/FoilHatBroadcast. I couldn't fit the, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you couldn't fit that.
Yeah.
It is patreon.com/FoilHatBroadcast.
There will be a link down in the show notes as well. And thank you for contributing. We have some contributors already, and I would like my heart goes out to our firstest few patrons. It means the world to us. Thank you very much. You help us out a lot, and every bit helps. So if you want to donate as well, even $1 a month goes a long way.
Y'all are awesome. I'm doing that rock symbol, but you can't see it. I forgot.
Did you just you held that pose for the longest time?
Because I was like, yeah. Donations are awesome. And those who donated are awesome too. And we are very, very happy to have you in our little broadcasting community. Podcast.
We love you, and you keep... and you keep the broadcast in the ether. Thank you very much for listening. Ladies, gentlemen, and mistaken historians, good night.
Go to bed, kids.